Let's take a look at Sunday in the NBA. Let's preview what we need to do to win the week. Who do we stream in for points leagues? Who do we stream in for category leagues? Who do we stream in for Michael Bolton leagues? It's probably just Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I invented the Berlin club scene. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. Thank you also for making us the #1 sports podcast network in the world. And thank you for getting me so close to the edge for 100K. We're almost there. 9,000 to go. It's over 90% there. Let's leave it at that. And let's get there before the end of the season. It'd be sick if we could do it. Not expecting it, but it would be a nice little present. Let's look into Sunday, the daily look ahead show, as we try to target players for points leagues and for category leagues to give you the victory on Sunday. Exactly. That's exactly where we want to go. So we've got 8 games coming up on Sunday. There is a bunch of weird timings on games here as well. We've got a 3:30 p.m. Eastern start, so make sure you've got your lineups set and ready. In fact, I might as well just bring up the games and show you what the games actually are for Sunday and how the schedule looks. There are the 8 games, like I said. We start one at 3:30, which is Clippers and Celtics. Then we've got Kings Spurs, Nets Wizards, Warriors Pelicans, Magic Rockets, Trailblazers, Mavs, Hawks, Suns, and the last game is Bulls Jazz. But the last game is not late at all. The final game of the day is an 8 p.m. Eastern tip. We have had these such weird sort of schedules. We have the random 8 p.m. Pacific tips. And in the last 3 days, I feel like we've had nothing late at all. Even though we've got a game in Phoenix and a game in Utah, we're still 8 p.m. is the 8 p.m. Eastern is the final game. So it's an incredibly early start, early finish for Sunday. I know Sunday Night Football is a thing, and you don't have to explain that to me. I know that's part of the reason why that is happening, but it is still an interesting little development. Let's start straight away by getting in and talking about streaming points leagues. Who are we streaming in? Who are the options that we could look at? All of these are at least 70% rostered. 70% available on Yahoo, with one of them at least 90% available, which I think should cover most of you double onyxers out there. We are going to have an interesting development because Zion Williamson is being upgraded to questionable for the Pelicans. So what happens with Yas, Derek Queen, the Blizzard? We saw Kevon Looney played 10 minutes. Eve Misi played 10 minutes. Queen played 30 last game, played 39 the game before. My question on this has always been, I don't know how they fit together. But also, we're in a state where this team's so bad. They just fired Bill Green. So we'll see how James Borrego wants to handle it. Maybe they don't care how those guys fit, and they just use the rest of this season to see if anything happens. I think the fit is going to be bad. And I think it's going to make them lose a lot of games, and the Hawks will be saying, yeah, play them together. Let's please play them together. But maybe, what do we do? What else can we do here? Jeremiah Fierce is there as well. Still no Jordy Poole, who's out for another week. Fierce seems to always be capped around 30 minutes, and there were games where he gets pushed lower, but that's fine. And Brandon Williams, again, I talked about this on the Week 5 preview show earlier today, saying that these guys, like Brandon Williams played 33 minutes, 2 games in a row. D'Angelo Russell had looked terrible. You have to go and grab Brandon Williams. But he's also still Brandon Williams. An older, I think 25, 26-year-old player who has had moments, but he's flashing in and out of rotations, been a G League guy. And with the way that Jason Kidd coaches, badly, but with the way that Jason Kidd coaches, he's going to just bench guys. He just will do it. And I have no idea. Does D'Angelo Russell play 30 minutes next game? Does Williams go back to playing 30? I don't know. I'm still willing to take the chance on Brandon Williams here and see what happens. And the Mavericks have got an extremely loaded schedule, 6 games in the next 9 nights. Pelicans also got a really loaded schedule coming up. Got Terance Mann here, and I hate it. I hate referencing Terance Mann. But he's available in 95% of leagues. So I think that covers most of you. Mann has a role, but even in Brooklyn, Jaeger Yeoman, the Blue Jean baby, he is, he barely played last game, and I was impressed. I said, he's improving every game, something a little bit more, and then just absolute trash. And they just keep mixing and matching. Mann at least is relatively secure, but it's a lot of let's throw a dart in Brooklyn. And the last one there is Moses Moody, who is starting in Golden State for the foreseeable future. Moody has had some very big games. He's also had some terrible games. And there's just a lot of guys around in that position who can play. We've detailed this all the time. We know Steph is going to start. Jimmy Butler is going to start. Draymond Green is going to start. But who's next to them? What happens if Kuminga is healthy next game? Does he start? I don't think so, but what are his minutes? Pajemski, Old Willie Dick, the return of DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton. This is all these guys. They could just Buddy Hield's 15 minutes randomly. There's just so many different players. And even if Moody does get 29 minutes, which he probably will, the value from him is not enough as a general rule to just be someone that we have to just roster through everything. But all that's to say is, as a stream guy on a day like this, let's go. Let's do it. Stream him in Sunday. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what we end up with. The ESPN Points League, we're using 30% rostered on ESPN as a cutoff, and weirdly, there seems to be more activity in ESPN leagues than Yahoo leagues in terms of roster percentages this season. Because, for as much crap as I give ESPN, they didn't scam their users. So ESPN, the number one guy there is Jusuf Nurkic, who I do believe Nurkic is just a must-roster guy. He will have bad games, absolutely, but his field goal percentage has actually been pretty good the last couple of games. He fills it up in multiple areas, and it is useful in ESPN Points leagues especially. Nemesh Cater is available a lot on ESPN, so even though I just said some of the Yahoo stuff's unreliable, having Nurkic and Cater available in 80% of leagues is a little weird. They shouldn't be, and you could definitely use them here. Also, why isn't Nickeil Alexander-Walker so available? Now, I know people have been frustrated with Alexander-Walker, but it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. I care about your feelings. I care. If you've been frustrated, come over, put your head on my lap. I'll rub your head for a little bit. Make it feel better. It'll all be nice when Josh is here. Alexander Walker's just a must-roster player. When Trae Young returns, who knows? But he was putting up a million shots. He was part of the reason why Dyson Daniels was so terrible when Trae was in. It's because, he'd defer to Trae, Dyson would, and then Alexander Walker would come in and Dyson would be in the same position. So Alexander Walker, Jeremiah Fears and Terance Mann, names that I've already mentioned, who are in interesting positions. The other one in the Hawks that's interesting is Vit Krejci. Now, he's been getting 20 minutes a night. They've cut the spiral, Luke Kennard, down a little bit. And so people are asking, why is Luke Kennard not the duck anymore, not the spiral? I would just advise you to type in duck spiral into Google. See what comes up. Just have a quick look. See what happens. See what we get to. Jeremiah Fears, Terance Mann. But Vit Krejci. He's shooting the lights out. I like Vit Krejci as a player. I think he's a really good player. I'm not sure what his role is. He was getting DMP 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and now he's shooting 80% from the field, right? That's going to fall. But if you want to just ride it, there's an element of okay, he's shooting hot, but does shooting 80% in one game mean he's going to be hot in the next game? The answer is that, and I know you'll say, he's on a hot streak. The answer is obviously no. The answer is obviously there's no guarantee of that, because at some point, the hot streak stops. And it doesn't mean, he's going to shoot well for 3 games, and then after that's when it stops. No one knows this. The hot streak might be 1 game. It might be 5. It might be 25 for Nikola Vucevic. Right? There's no, once you're on a hot streak, it lasts a week, and then it cools off. Not how it works. So when I take, ideas of streaming and projections, that sort of stuff, I'm not in the idea of, he's at 80% shooting, so he'll probably hit 70 in the next game. That sounds about right, because there's no basis in reality of that, even if there are times it happens, because our brains, it blocks out the ones where it doesn't happen. Always remember that our brains are looking to deceive you, like the government always trying to steal from you. We'll come back. We'll talk category league streaming. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, but every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. You channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that is Robinhood, ROBINHOOD. Did I say H? Not HH. ROBINHOOD.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. NBA, it's on. We know there's stuff happening all the time, and you want to get into the arena to feel the electricity. You want to get close up. You want the sweat to splash you in the face, and that's how you do it, by watching the games live. But sometimes getting those tickets can be a total headache. Queues, surprise fees, prices jumping just before you go to check out. It's frustrating when all you want to do is get there and be drenched in sweat. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives you the advantage as a fan. The ultimate hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. It's so easy because you can go and you can click the seat and you go, what's my view going to be like? What are the sight lines like? If the ball comes to me, Carmelo Anthony style, on the sidelines, would I get up and pretend to pump fake a shot? Would it go in? You can check all that out. Are you going to be in position to do that? I don't know. Game Time gives you the option to have a look. Anyway, so take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. We're talking streaming. We're talking streaming on Sunday. We're talking getting blokes in to help boost your value to try and get a victory over your opponents. I was going to do should I do my Captain Carey from Below Deck Aussie accent? It's tough to understand. Does anyone know that reference? Let's try it for like a couple of minutes here. Not even a couple of minutes. Let's do 30 seconds. So you can maybe look the streaming options for points for categories. Top guys for getting your scoring come in. Bad? Yeah, bad. Just put your headphones back on. Just make sure you got the charter. Just come in. I think we're going all right. Just making sure. Just this is how we got to work while I deal with the vagaries of software and technology and bogan Australian accents. Headphones off. Points category. Modi Muzi is there. Part of what we talk about with the idea of streaming and taking chances on guys, because that's what most of these players are. They're like, I don't feel comfortable with a lot of them. Right? It's like, what do I look at and go, okay, are we projecting at the median outcome? Are we projecting out the upside outcome? And there's a little bit of both chucked in there with this, to be honest. Moody could have 20 points. Could have 6. Just look at his game log. But what one of the things that we feel good about or more comfortable with is security in role. And while I don't have gigantic security in Moody's role, I feel good that the foreseeable future won't come on Sunday. So Moody will start. And he gets probably minimum 23 minutes after 29. And that's a decent enough role. Controlling percentages on a game-by-game basis, especially 3-point percentage, is really hard to do. It's almost impossible to do. So you're going to get variance. But like, what can we feel better about? Role, usage, who else is in and out around them? Terance Mann, similarly, like he could be terrible, but almost lock it in, he will start. Lock it in, he plays more than 20 minutes. Like I feel very good about that. He might score 2, he might score 18, but I know he's going to be there. Cam Whitmore, tougher one. Bilal Coulibaly could be returning. He's been upgraded to questionable, but Whitmore is going to get shots off. I don't believe that Whitmore is any sort of must-roster player in anything outside of like 200 deep leagues. And even then, like, he's so limited. But this one is just more upside. What if he gets hot, goes 6 of 7 from 3, has 25 points in 10 minutes? Like, he can do it. So that, I'm interested in it. Tristan Da Silva is an interesting play because last time, when Paulo Banchero got hurt, Da Silva didn't do anything. He didn't even see his role increase. I'm like, that's pretty weird. Anthony Black, maybe he's the guy. Mr. Black. And they started John Isaac. Okay, I think they might start Da Silva, but he's a little empty as a player. But then, what he did in that Magic game on Friday, is he came out, he started. Okay, that's fine. Played 1 million minutes. Shot, I think, 60+% from the field. Maybe like 58% from the field. And looked like the clear must-roster player. But of course, he didn't do anything else apart from that big scoring outburst. And no guarantee he plays those 36 minutes every game. or whatever he played, and he's up and down. We've seen it. Now, he can put together good games, he can put together bad games, but his overall profile to Silver is lacking. But the thing that he does is score. And there are opportunities with usage and minutes, and given how well he played, he's not losing the starting job for the next game. So you feel good about that. Long term, I'm not convinced that he's any better than like a 120, top 120 guy over this period. And the last name there is Derek Jones, who I don't know what the Clippers are doing. Ty Lue's out, Jordan Miller, Kobe Sanders, these young guys, we're going to give them rotation minutes. So Cam Christie played 0, and Sanders and Miller saw their minutes cut in half, which completely adds up when you just lie to the camera like it makes complete sense. Just do the exact opposite. John Collins is down to low 20s in minutes. I'm feeling not good about that. Derek Jones played 1 million minutes, but was that only because of the overtimes? Will he be the one that loses out? What about Chris Dunn? Bogdan Bogdanovic played 30 minutes. I got no idea. It changes every 5 minutes. Bogdanovic was out of the rotation like 3 games ago when Beal was injured. Now he played 30 minutes. It's all over the shop. You take flyers on guys, and maybe you're lucky. But there's no clear pattern there. And even when the coach says something, he's lying. So it makes it tough. Let's talk threes. There's obviously correlation between points and 3-pointers in fantasy value. So some of the names are the same. Moses Moody, Tristan da Silva, they're both on the list. Slammin' Sammy Hauser doesn't do anything else. He's only getting low 20s in minutes, but I feel good that he's going to get low 20s. The Minot, Jordan Walsh back and forwards, and the additions of Baylor Shireman or random 10-minute Chris Boucher appearances, they don't really impact Hauser that much. He can hit 3 threes, 22 minutes, fine. Trey Johnson, he has been starting. Will he not start when Bilal is back? I think that's possible. But also, Johnson is very, I'll say one-dimensional. But of course, when you hit threes, that leads to scoring. So it leads to being 2 categories, but he's very singularly focused. But he'll hit threes. And then the other one is Zion Williams. And good luck. Because Williams did nothing the game before, then played 35 minutes and 7 or 8 threes in Friday's game. I don't remember the exact number, but crazy numbers. Can't trust it. No reliability, but always pop-off ability. So the old POA, pop-off ability, for Zaire is there. And we do like to look at that. Let's go to more of these guard-focused stats. Let's talk assists. Bubbles Carrington. Ooh, I don't feel good about it, but the value of assists is hard to find on the wire. Carrington might get 6. Might play 15 minutes also if Bilal is back. And that's terrible. He's not going to start. I feel very good about saying that. Chris Middleton probably starts. Probably has 4 points, but could have 6 assists as a 22 to 23 minute facilitator alongside a lot of the young guys. D'Angelo Russell. Who knows? Does Jason Kidd go back to him? Does he bring him off the bench but play him 30 minutes again? Or does he play him 14 minutes and give him 3 assists? You're just dealing with who knows, man. Jose Alvarado is one of the ones out of these first 4 names that I mentioned that I actually feel all right about his role. But what if Zion coming back just sort of changes the whole calculus on how the rotation looks? Because Alvarado had been pretty low in minutes, and they're up to 21, 22 most nights now. And then the other one, again, which is confusion, is Bogdan Bogdanovic, and he played really well last game, so I imagine he gets at least another crack at it, but what if he starts off, misses his first 4 shots? Lou just won't play him. I think we're seeing this problem, I'm getting a little philosophical here, I guess. We're seeing this problem arise a lot more in recent years in fantasy, and I've talked about this for a long time. It started out with the platoonability of centers. And there's one main cause for it. It won't really ever be solved. And I know that some of you will say you can't say that because we've got bad teams, but the league needs expansion. There are too many good players. And by good, I mean players who can hang on an NBA court and can have good games at times. Because when you run into a situation where the difference between your 7th guy and your 11th guy or 12th guy is infinitesimal, the coaches rightfully can just say, well, you're not feeling it. What drop am I getting? Let's try this other guy. Whereas in the past, when the league was much weaker, which again, it is way stronger, but when the league was much weaker, you'd have 8 good players. And you'd know that those 8 good players, I rely upon them, and the others are just like Brooklyn Nets caliber guys. And now that we've got this ability where there are some teams, the Thunder, where there are 13, 14 guys where you go, look, this guy could play 20 minutes on 28 teams. And the chopping and changing of this makes it harder for us. And I'm not saying that the league should expand for fantasy. That's not the case. But there are guys like Cam Christie in the Clippers who played really well. Thought he looked good in his little role, but now he's out and they give some other guys a go. And Bogdanovic and Chris Paul aren't playing, but in expansion settings, they could get 20 minutes a night and still have some use. So these problems that we face in fantasy now about like complete unpredictability, variance, coaches changing their mind, I believe is largely brought about by the fact that we haven't had expansion for since when? Bloody 15 years, maybe? Charlotte? Yeah, like 15 years. And there's too many good players now. Like there's like Patrick Beverley. Like I know we got arrested and I don't know what the details are, but like he could possibly still like help a team. Victor Oladipo I believe signed in with the Bucks G League team. Like he might be done, but there's a lot of these guys around who still could have like some value somewhere. And the squish of value of players where the delineation is like we've got our stars and then it's like everyone else can do bits and pieces makes this problem ongoing. Sorry for like the rant, or not even rant, like the, what do you call it? Anyway, the pontification. We'll come back and talk about the rest of the streams, and hopefully I won't get as philosophical and emotional. I'm not emotional. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. NBA season is back, and FanDuel is here to help you get in on the action, because FanDuel, of course, is an official partner, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And with FanDuel, you can bet live on NBA games. You might miss the start of the game and go, damn it, I had killer insights that nobody else thought of. But you can get in live in the game and place those bets now. Did it work out the way that you thought it was? Well, double down on it. Did it start off a different way? You go, no, I got full confidence in my abilities and it's going to swing back. So bet on that. Bet on the turnaround. Bet on the blowout. Bet on the comeback. Bet on the player that's going to score next. And you can combine all of those live in-game bets on FanDuel, on the NBA, into a same-game parlay. Easy. You can do that now. But if you're a new customer, do this first. Go to FanDuel.com, sign up. Place your first $5 bet. And when that first $5 bet wins, you can find ones that seem pretty easy to pick. When your first $5 bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use right across the app. So do that. Sign up, FanDuel.com, first $5 bet, win the bet, $300 in bonus bets. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Let's finish out this this segment here on streaming. We just talked about assists and the difficulty you can have in finding good assist guys. Steals are everywhere. Steals are just abundant. Josh Okogie is going to keep starting for Houston, and now Tari Eason's out for weeks. I don't know that there's any clear ad in that spot. I don't believe there is, and the Rockets have got a terrible schedule, so don't worry too much about it. It could help Reed Shepherd, but what I think happens is Dorian Finney-Smith comes in and just takes the minutes, and we're just back at square one. And what that means, we just avoid a negative impact of Finney-Smith. But Okogie gets steals. Chris Dunn, I don't know that he starts. He could, but he also could come back down because the Clippers keep changing things up. But he is a guy for steals. That is his value. He's not a must-roster guy. Keon Ellis played good minutes last game, and we talked about there was something happening with the Kings. The change they made was Russell Westbrook starting over Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder clear drop, by the way. What we also saw is DeMar DeRozan looking again, terrible. We also saw Domantas Sabonis' usage go way up, but we also saw things like Nick Clifford get pushed out of the rotation almost, and Malik Monk play like 14 minutes, and Keon played 25 or 24. And that makes Keon a great steals guy. But I don't trust the Kings, but if he's going to play 25, then you're probably in a category league want to grab Keon Ellis. But who knows what they do? Who knows, man? Moses Moody, decent steals guy. And then, of course, Jose Alvarado. One of his main strengths is getting steals. The last sort of guard category we look at is free throw percentage. Bogdanovic. Josh Minot, who's an interesting one because he's not a guard, is he? And he's one of those guys that can sort of do and part of his value in fantasy and part of why we liked him as an ad, or I liked him, you may have hated him, but I liked him, and so far it's been wrong, is that he can sort of cross the border, cross the aisle, so to speak, because he can be high free throws and get steals, things associated with guards, while blocking shots and being a rebounder, things associated with bigs, and you're sort of doing bits and pieces of both. Moses Moody, good free throw guy. The Spiral, Luke Kennard, good free throw guy. And Tristan da Silva, good free throw guy. He's a shooter. Doesn't do anything else. He's a shooter. The big man stuff, rebounds, it's a little empty. Honestly, the big man streaming stuff on Sunday's not great. Steve Adams is a lead at this stuff. He might get you 8 or 9. Day'Ron Sharpe is an incredibly good rebounder. You worry that Claxton gets 33 minutes and Sharpe plays 14. That's concerning. But if there's someone that can get double digits in 14 minutes, it's Sharpe. Ryan Dunn's not your traditional big, a little Josh Minotty, but 6 or 7 of them off the bench. His role is not as big as what you would have hoped, and he's definitely not a must-roster player, but he can get some boards. Marvin Bagley, for as much crap as I have given him, but more importantly, not even him, is the way that people viewed him, and teams viewed him, and Troy Weaver viewed him, that he's turned into a solid backup center. All of his limitations are still there, but he's done the thing where he's adjusted his game that Jahlil Okafor couldn't do, for example, and become a really good backup center that James Wiseman couldn't do, and become a solid backup center. Very good rebounder still. Great. And then Sticks in Chicago, who's outplayed Nikola Vucevic the last 2 games. No idea whether he will do it again here. By the way, Coby White, looking like he's going to return. But Jalen Smith, good rebounder. And has, like I said, outplayed Nikola Vucevic the last 2 games, keeping Vucevic under 30 minutes. For blocks, a lot of repeat names here. That's how the bigs usually roll. But Johnny Isaac, he's not the same guy that could have got 4 in the past, but he can get 2 of them. The Rock DJ, Robbie Williams, 9 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know. But Don Clingan is bad at the moment, and Tiago Splitter does not like running Donovan Clingan out there. And Williams at least has block upside. Goga Badadze, the dart, 2 block upside easily, not taking Wendell Carter's minutes. We know that very clearly, but 2 blocks from Goga is possible. And if you get into the situation where either Wendell gets hurt in game or in foul trouble, you can do 4 blocks. Brook Lopez still limited, behind. If it's a Zubats, the options are not great for blocks, but Brook can get you 1 or 2. One thing that over the last 3 years again, side note, is talking about variance and the distribution of stats is where we get Durant out because I believe that standard Z-score rankings are just flat wrong because they're wrong. They're just wrong, right? They're wrong because of the distributions. And blocks are a Poisson distribution because the amount of times you can get 0. It's about probability of events. And that's where these things become really frustrating to try and model. It's why the rankings are wrong using standard Z-scores. But Lopez could get 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 3. And we just take the chance. Can he be a shot blocker? Yeah, but you never know. Day'Ron Sharpe, also decent shot blocker. And the opportunity there. But you'll notice that all of these guys, every one of those guys, Isaac, Williams, Badadze, Lopez, and Sharpe, are probably going to play under 20 minutes. So it's not great pickings. What about field goal percentage? Robert Williams, Marvin Bagley. So Trey Williams there, Trey Bagley. Both good field goal percentage guys. Goga, Sticks, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Names that we have mentioned already. Let's talk about sort of combining the guard stats. Who was a good overall guard streamer? Points, threes, assists, steals, and free throw percentage. Who could be someone if you're just looking for that little guard bump? There's a lot of guys available. Moses Moody, Terance Mann, Chris Middleton, Jose Alvarado, and even Tristan da Silva, who again is more power forward sized, but real sort of guard skill set without the assists. But on the flip side, if you want to look at bigs, who are the guys you can look at there? And it's a lot of the same names that we mentioned, but like I always do when we do this big-based streaming, I'm including steals in it, because if you are a team that builds your team heavy punt onto big man build, you know that every week it's like, am I going to win steals? The others I might have locked up, but geez, steals is tough. So you've got to include steals as a category when you're assessing the value of these players. So Steve Adams, Day'Ron Sharpe, and that's why Josh Okogie and Josh Minott pop up. Okogie's a guard, I guess, but he's an above-average rebounder who gets steals and blocks sometimes. Josh Minott is a steals and blocks and rebound sort of player. And the other one is John Isaac, who's a decent enough big bill guy, but like it is slim pickings for the big man streaming on Sunday, and I think that's just an important point to be aware of. Go. That's a streaming plan for Sunday. That's a bit of a look ahead to Sunday. We've got potential returns from injury of Zion Williamson, Coby White. Be very intriguing to see how that all plays out. Bilal Coulibaly as well. Guys, thumb up the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'd like to, by the start of week 5, hit 91,000. We're like 100 off maybe. So let's get there. We're done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.